Hello and welcome. I am Sara Bachmeier with Egyptian Numerology. Today's video is about old souls. And in Egyptian numerology, the most prominent number for being an old soul is the number 7, mainly because of their spiritual nature, intellectual expansion, and their love for the wilderness. They are also tied to other planets and solar systems, but that's a whole nother video. There are other numbers that indicate if you came into this incarnation as an old soul, but the number 7 is the least talked about, so I wanted to mention it. An old soul is someone who exhibits a perception and often references to children or someone who is younger that has exceptional knowledge, talents, or even psychic insights. Old souls differ from someone who is considered smart because these people have gifts that go far beyond their body maturation and their age. And this includes their original thinking. And this is what differentiates someone who is smart versus an old soul. For example, old souls who are master artists are known to paint beyond their peers or even the time period of their incarnation. For them, there is an ease and comfort to creating or exhibiting something very complex. The secret to spotting an old soul is in their vision. They have a sage-like quality that puts them into their own beautiful world. They tend to test anyone of authority who tries to instill their own will or control over them. Old souls enjoy a knowingness in how things come together, and this is normal because they see things in their original form and are not limited to methods or commonly accepted thoughts or ideas. They are also free thinkers and rarely have a desire to conform to society, and this includes their parents and community. An old soul is anyone who enjoys an empathic flair to connect with nature and people who are more mature than they are. There is a definite spirituality to them that is hard to ignore. They're very powerful in personality, but are generally very quiet and introspective. They have a strong desire to connect within, which can be misinterpreted as being aloof or maybe not even paying attention. Old souls show advanced signs of awareness, and their foresight seems to come from a higher source. They can be reincarnated or from another planet, or both, which would explain their access to understanding concepts that are just out of this world. They are identified by what they know and how they receive their information. And a great example of an old soul would be Nikola Tesla. He was an inventor, electronic engineer, and a genius, all of which properly describes him. But he was also an old soul. His being an old soul is identified through his spiritual gifts and the way that he viewed things that were way outside of his lifespan. There is a spiritual aspect to old souls that give them wisdom, talent, and a true knowledge and understanding. It's super easy to be in their company because ultimately they are comfortable with inside themselves, and their energy is wonderfully appealing. Old souls can make wonderful partners, friends, and lovers, but only if you like being around honesty and the truth. Recognizing and connecting with an old soul, it is quite transforming. There's something to be said in giving your full attention to a child or a young person who hosts the wisdom of being an old soul. Most adults don't realize the simplicity in connecting with an old soul with energetic openness. As an old soul matures, so does their wisdom. Listening to them isn't always easy if you're going to still hold on to your limiting perspectives. And logically, this statement is easily understood because it's not so easy the moment you're faced with the certainty of an old soul who knows the truth. Fortunately, old souls are enormously patient in holding space for any person or group who wants to further develop themselves and to grow spiritually. There's a sense of peace and humility in being in their presence. And soulful people usually don't value money, shiny possessions. They value freedom, peace of mind, simple pleasures, and Zen living. They are most likely deep thinkers and often feel that they don't quite belong or fit in. They may find extreme shallow behaviors a little boring, but they'll continue to respect those who are baby souls, who are still clinging to the material world or needing the acceptance of their peers above all other values. If you are an old soul, then you would seek wisdom over money and possessions. You would like to read, learn, or watch informational videos. You're always looking to gain wisdom. You prefer the richness of a person with a great mind and spirituality over the financial abundance of someone else who may be a little selfish or vain. You know how to recognize a narcissist immediately because you have developed an intolerance to their way of selfish living. You might not have wealth in terms of possessions, but you are very rich on the inside. And as your soul grows, you value more knowledge and wisdom. You are usually an introvert, but can occasionally be the life of the party. And this is because although you temporarily display the qualities of an extrovert, you deep down inside are really an introvert. You get your energy from within yourself and not from other people. You give your time to people, but sometimes when you socialize heavily, you find it necessary to rest. And this is when you regroup into your own self to regain your emotional and mental strength. Your alone time is very sacred. It's your sacred space. You might have been called a recluse or a loner at times because you enjoy people, but you also like your solitude. When you are alone with your thoughts, you often reflect on your life, but not in a broken record type of way, but more in search of a higher understanding of what life has to offer. You are described as being very genuine because people can sense that you are down to earth and real. You have an aura of trust around you, and people usually flock to be with you and maybe even tell their problems to you, hoping you'll help them. When in reality, all they really want is to be validated, and you are great at validating others, since you understand that growing spiritually is a part of being non-judgmental. You are sensitive around pain and suffering, although you may have taken many punches from life. You still have a very soft heart. You are unable to fathom all the evil in the world, but you also have strong hope, humanity, and love to help others. You are the first one to give your money to the poor, to feed the hungry, and help the unfortunate. There's an empathy and acceptance of others that is above average, and you are loving, forgiving, and accepting of all people, animals, and sentient beings. You appreciate the simple things in life and do not need a lot of excitement to feel happiness. You have a strong spiritual nature that is not tied into a religious faith or practice. And lastly, you feel that you have had a past life, or you have been here on this planet before, maybe in a different time in history. You might feel very strongly or attracted to specific periods in history. And it cannot be proven, but usually people with old souls have an interest in past historical events. If you feel that you're an old soul and you would like to learn more about your life purpose, you can contact me for a chart reading. I'd love to work with you. You can get my information off my website at www.egyptiannumerology.org. There's a great need for old souls, wounded healers, star seeds, and human angels to come into alignment with their soul's mission. Because if we all work together, we can shift humanity further into the light. Thank you for joining me today, and have a blessed week. I will see you next week. Namaste.